Have you ever felt the weight of eyes upon you when you're sure you're alone? That suffocating sense of dread you can't explain, like a warning that something dark lurks just out of sight. I never believed in the supernatural. I thought it was just stories to keep children inside at night, until I saw something I wish I could forget. This story begins with a tree, an old dying oak that seemed as if it were plucked out of some grim painting. A tree that hid secrets in its twisting branches. When I was around 6 or 7, I used to visit my grandmother's house every weekend. She had a large backyard with an enormous oak tree in it. It wasn't like the other oaks in the neighborhood. This one was sickly, gray, and always barren of leaves. Even on the brightest summer days, it seemed to loom over everything with a foreboding presence. Despite its ghastly appearance, it had a tire swing. Every once in a while, I'd gather the courage to use it. The rope was old, and the branch it hung from groaned each time it swayed. But my grandmother kept a watchful eye through her kitchen window. I hated playing alone in that backyard. The branches felt like they were closing in on me, as though they wanted to snatch me right off the ground. But that particular day, boredom won out over fear. That afternoon, I decided to swing on the old tire. At first, it was perfectly normal, just the soft creak of the branch. Grandma was still in the kitchen, her eyes occasionally flicking outside to check on me. Then I felt something, that prickling on the back of your neck, the sense that you're not alone. My skin crawled. I wanted to look up, but my gut told me not to. I glanced at the window to see Grandma watching me, but the look on her face, it was horror. She wasn't looking at me, she was looking at something above me. Her hand shot up to cover her mouth. It was like the day shifted in an instant. The sunlight faded and a heavy mist drifted in. My body froze. I couldn't move even if I wanted to. Then I heard it, a slow creak from the branch overhead. Something was swaying gently on the branch above me. I had stopped swinging. I was perfectly still. But that movement, whatever it was, continued. I felt the branch groan under the weight of something. Then I heard Grandma scream my name. She ran out so fast I barely had time to realize what was happening. She shielded my eyes, pulling me away from the tree and into the house. I was shaking so badly I didn't even resist. She didn't say a word about it, just held me and told me not to worry. But I remember her face. She looked like she'd witnessed something out of a nightmare. Within weeks, Grandma hired people to cut that cursed tree down. She didn't want me anywhere near it after that day, and not long after, she sold the house. Just like that, my visits to that backyard ended. I was relieved, but a small part of me always wondered, what had she seen? Grandma moved to a cozier home a few months later, and she invited me over whenever I wanted. Life went on. Occasionally, I'd catch her staring off into space, her face clouded with worry. But she never spoke of that day, at least not until years later. When I was older, I finally mustered the courage to ask her what happened under that tree. She hesitated, her eyes distant, but I pressed on. I wanted answers, though I wish now I'd let it be. There was a woman hanging from the branch. Her neck was twisted, broken, bones sticking out through her skin. She was still alive somehow. She looked at you like she wanted to grab you. My heart sank into my stomach. I could barely breathe listening to Grandma's words. She told me the woman was alive, choking on her own blood, fixated on me as if I were the final thing she needed before she'd let go. When I grabbed you, she started gurgling, and I knew it was almost over for her. I never wanted you to see that. No one should see something like that. As time went on, I felt this need to understand how such a thing could have happened. I did some research on the property's past and found out something even more disturbing. The couple who lived there before, there'd been a murder. The husband had snapped his wife's neck in a fit of rage. Then he staged her death as a suicide, hanging her body from that very tree. The man wasn't in his right mind, at least that's what the report said. By the time the truth came out, the property had switched owners multiple times, but the stain of what happened there never left that yard. What Grandma saw that day, was it the spirit of the murdered wife or something more malevolent? All I know is, whatever lingered in that tree was filled with anger and pain, and in that single, horrifying moment, it wanted me. The house has new owners now, but that tree is gone, chopped down to its roots. Perhaps that's for the best. No child should ever see the horrors hidden in its branches. No one should have to feel the eyes of the past clawing at them from above. I'm thankful my grandmother protected me that day. And I'm thankful it's all in the past, though sometimes in the back of my mind, I still feel that cold presence. The memory of that lifeless gaze stares at me in the dark of night, reminding me that some trees bear more than just leaves. They bear the souls of the forgotten. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of my darkest childhood memories. If you've ever felt something watching you from the treetops, be warned. Not all shadows are cast by branches. Some are cast by the restless dead. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of the unexplained. And as always, stay safe out there. Some horrors are closer than you think.